revel.
Revvell.
And that's to celebrate life, to revel in life. And I took that. People keep saying, well, were your parents hippies? I mean, people make up all kinds of stories about who I was and who my parents were. And usually they're inaccurate. It's funny how people can make up stories about you and they're wrong. And so my name is Revvell, and I took that because I was pretty cranky at one time. And my husband would still say, you still are at times. Which is true. And that's usually when I'm off my eating. If I'm not eating correctly, that's one of the first things that throws me off, because eating brings us into balance. Eating the right food, eating fresh fruit, raw food. And the reason we're talking about raw today is, as Patrice said, she met me at an event we were both at, and I was wearing my t-shirt, and we got to talking, and she bought a couple of my books. And she told me about this particular gathering, and she asked if I would come and speak because the other one isn't going to be able to make it. So I said, sure, why not? Love talking about food, and I love talking about healing, and I love talking about health and wealth. Now for me, they go hand in hand. How many here would like more money? Sure. Okay, if I give you $1, you've got more money, right? So when you're talking about creating anything at all, first thing you want to do is be specific. Okay? So you want to be specific and say exactly what you want. Everybody understand what I'm saying? Now, say you want more money. How much more? When do you expect to have it? You don't have to figure out the how. The universe, God, whoever is your source is where he takes care of the how. You don't have to worry about it. You just say the what. What is it you want? Now I'm going to bring up something that may maybe tighten up some mouths here. I hear people pray a lot, but usually, I'm stepping into something here. Usually when they pray, it's not because, and I'm not saying any of you, but I'm just saying, it's because they want. It's not in gratitude. It's not in appreciation. So right now, I would like to bring everybody into this little conversation and tell me one thing you appreciate. Just shout it out. What do you appreciate? I appreciate, just start your sentence with, I appreciate life. I appreciate life. What else? Health. There we go. What else? Wealth. Pardon?
Prosperity.
Prosperity. Absolutely. Keep going.
Love.
Love.
And relationships.
Family.
Relationships. Family. Yes.
I said family. I said
Okay.
prosperity.
You're all on the same line here. Love, prosperity, family, right? You know what? You all came up so much faster in Crystal Cathedral. They sat there like, there you go. You learned this stuff, right? Absolutely.
They teach this stuff.
They teach this stuff, yeah. I was at Crystal Cathedral. I asked the same question. They're like, it's like, wait a minute, come on, folks, appreciate. This is what this whole thing is about, appreciation. Okay, so thank you for participating and setting me straight up where I am. Because now I know where I am and who I'm dealing with, and I appreciate it. Okay, next thing. Now, I was born Catholic. We're all Christian, right? Is this true? Yeah? Anybody here not a Christian? You're not a Christian. Okay, not a problem. What are you?
No religious. I subscribe to no religion.
Whatever works. Okay? But we do have, most of us do understand we have a soul or a spirit, correct?
Right.
Yes, even on that one. Okay. That's what I want. That's where I want to go. Okay. Now, when I was born, when I was growing up, I was brought up as a Catholic. And one of the things I was told was our bodies are temples. Okay, now I look around me and I see this beautiful place. I see how well kept it is, how clean it is, how very organized it is. And then I see what people eat. Now, a lot of what we eat, myself included, is junk. We know it. We call it junk. We call it junk and we put it in our bodies. Hello? Would you take junk and put it in this beautiful setting? Would you put it anywhere, junk, anywhere in this facility?
No.
No. Why do you put it inside yourself? It's convenience. It tastes good. It's easy. It's what's available. It's cheap. But your human body that you were given to carry you through this life is not cheap. It's the only one you got. When something is original, something is valuable. The more original you are, and each one of you are original, aren't you? Each one of you are valuable. Don't treat yourself as though you're not. So, let's talk about food. I've been studying food since about 77. I was about 20, I don't know how old I was, but I was in my 20s. And I realized that I was not feeling as I thought I should feel at 26, 27, how old I was. It was like, why do I have hay fever? Why do I have allergies? Why do I have this? Why do I have that? And I started realizing that I was too young to be feeling this bad. So I started studying it, and I started reading all the magazines and everything. So what I would do was every time I had a symptom, I would go out and get an antidote for the symptom, a vitamin, or some herbs, or something like that. So I was taking care of the symptoms, but I never took care of the underlying cause. Has anybody ever done that? Got a whole cabinet full of pills? Yeah. Yeah, I know people have a whole cabinet full of drugs. But my question to you is, have you ever had a deficiency of drugs? No, our bodies aren't made of drugs. And yet that's what we're prescribed when we're sick or when we don't feel well. What we're given is drugs. Now, I've never had a drug deficiency, so I had no reason to be putting that inside. And of course, some people, it has helped. There's no question about it, because I know some people have had problems. But we were given the solution to our health. What do you think that is?
Raw food?
Raw food, yes, but it is feeding our immune system. Our immune system is the answer to most of our diseases. Now look, I mean, we can't blame ourselves for why we do what we do and how we do it. Just think when we were babies. What did our parents do? They gave us to a doctor to give us drugs. You can't build the immune system with drugs. Those drugs were taking the place of our immune system. Instead of learning how to feed us so that we built our immune system, we were given drugs to replace our immune system and keep us tied to doctors. So we started revering the doctor instead of the food we were given to heal ourselves. Does that make sense to anybody? Yeah. And we're still doing that to ourselves. So, what I'm here to tell you is there's a few things. What I've learned over the last 31 years is the better food you put inside yourself, the better health you will have. By that I mean raw. Now, why raw?
Because cooking takes the vitamins out of it.
There you go. Cooking will destroy approximately 50% of the nutrients in your food, plus the enzymes. We are given a certain amount of enzymes throughout our lives. Once those enzymes are gone, we're gone. Enzymes are what is carrying us through life. Once those are gone. So, if you are eating dead food, your enzymes have to digest that food. Now, if you're eating live food that contains enzymes, your body doesn't have to work so hard. Okay? You're also getting nutrients to build your immune system and make you stronger. And that's what we all want, right? I mean, who wants to die at 70? Who wants to die at 80? Well, who wants to spend all their money in a hospital trying to get well? You're not going to get well in a hospital. You know, most people die in hospitals. That's where they die. They die in hospitals. That's where you're going to die. So, it's okay, I'll wait. Now, microwaves. Microwaves are one of the worst things ever made. Huh? Uh-huh. Well, one of the reasons is when you use a microwave, you're killing 100% of the nutrients. 100%. Plus, you're changing the molecular structure of the food, so it's not food anymore. It's amazing we're still alive, isn't it? It's amazing, but it's not amazing how many people are sick. Because this stuff is killing us. So the reason Patrice brought me over here is because, first of all, juicing is fantastic, especially if you've got some kind of illness and you have, like a lot of times when people have eaten a standard American diet for some length of time, they have a problem with their digestive system. And they can't eat raw food immediately because the fiber just tears them up. They're not able to do it. So you can either juice and get a lot of nutrients immediately, which a lot of people need to do, or you can do what I recommend, which is smoothies. Now, smoothies are basically fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, and greens, and they are ground up in a blender. Thank you. I have to fill in the words every once in a while. They're ground up in a blender, so it makes it easier to digest, makes it easier to get the nutrients, the fresh, absolute nutrients, and it's easy. So the reason I prefer smoothies for myself, I don't have digestive problems much. But I prefer smoothies as opposed to juicing only because it's easier. Juicing can be a pitta. You all know what a pitta is, right? Because you got to put everything through, then you got to take it all apart, and then you got to wash all the pieces, then you take the brush and you got to scrub the little screen, and then you got to put it all together again. You got to do that 2 or 3 times a day because you should be drinking juice when you make it fresh. You should be drinking 3 times a day. And if you have to do that 3 times a day, you're probably not going to do it. I know I'm not. Okay, there is one machine out called the Green Life, Green Power, Green something or other, and you can keep the juice for the full day and not have to do it twice or 3 times. Okay, but with a juice with smoothies, you got one blender, you fill it up, you blend everything, and you've got one knife, one cutting board, one glass. Clean, easy. And so what I do is I fill the blender, it's about a 64-ounce blender that I use. I make it, and then I divide it in thirds. And so 1/3 I drink immediately for breakfast, and then I have the second third with lunch. Yes, you can continue eating as you normally do, although I will make you aware of some things you might not want to do anymore. And then in the evening, say, do any of you work? Do you go to like a regular job and then come home from work? Any of you? No. Okay, so what happens when you get off work? Anybody hungry? Anybody really hungry? And you come home and you start going through your cupboards or you're going through your refrigerator and you go, oh, I'm going to have some of this, some of this, some of this. When we're hungry, we tend to eat unconsciously. We tend to eat stuff we think, we know we should not be putting in our bodies, but we are just hungry. I've done it. Still do it. Okay? You got to prepare for hunger. So that's where the third smoothie comes in. As soon as you come in, you drink the smoothie, and it will give you a few moments to take your time and really see, are you really hungry for whatever it was you were reaching for originally, or as much of it? So here's a few things I have found out over the last couple of years. What causes cancer? Somebody here was asking me about alkalinity and acid-alkaline balance in the body. Our body should be a little bit more alkaline than acidic. So, what is acidic food? All animal products. Sorry. Yes, that cheese you love, that ice cream you love, that steak, those ribs. It's acidic. There's a book called, I want you to write this down, I want you to get this book. It's called The China Study. The China Study. It's by T. Colin Campbell. It is one of the best books. They did a really, really long study with a really lot of bunch. You ever hear anybody say that before? A whole bunch of people. The China Study.
I didn't understand
T. Colin Campbell.
the title of the book.
The China Study.
Are you saying S-E-T-T-I-N-G? China what?
China Study.
Oh, study.
Study. S-T-U-D-Y.
Okay.
The China Study.
Who was the author?
T. Colin Campbell. C-A-M-P-B-E-L-L. Researcher.
What's the first name?
Colon.
T.
T. Colin.
Campbell.
T. Dot Colin, C-O-L-I-N Campbell. One of the best books ever done. Now, I'm not saying you have to eat 100% raw, but it's the best way to go. But you probably don't want to do it cold turkey. Did you go to a cold turkey just
Cold
immediately?
turkey.
Cold turkey. And how long you been?
14 months.
14 months.
I've moderated and 95.
Say what?
I've moderated a little, I'm about 95,
Okay. And you lost how many pounds?
60 pounds.
How hard was that?
Easy.
Easy. When you start eating raw, more than likely you will lose what is called the false body. People who have excess fat will lose it. But then people who, like me, who only have like an extra 10 or 15 pounds, you lose what is called the false body, and then you start building up some strength, some more, some healthier cells. Because right now our cells are not as healthy as they could be. Do you know everybody has cancer in the body? Have you ever heard that? You know, everybody already has cancer cells?
Yeah.
Do you know that most of us have cancer, active cancer, 6 times in our lifetime? Do you know that?
No.
Do you know what stops it from becoming full-blown?
Our immune system.
Our immune systems. Our immune system. So when you see somebody who's got cancer, who's got heart disease, who's got diabetes, you know diabetes too can be cured in a week? A week. Do you know what doctors are putting people on drugs for something that can be cured in a week? 2 weeks max. 2 weeks max. That's right. That's right. It's all about money. And I have nothing against money. But, love money. Money loves me. But, you want to use it to help people, not hurt them. You know, these doctors take this oath. They take a Hippocratic oath. Thou shalt do no harm. They lied. Majority of them have lied. Now, a lot of them have changed. A lot of them have gotten clear on their idea of do no harm. Quite a few. But do you know if a doctor chooses to use anything but drugs, if they try like a natural healing method to help people heal, they will go to jail. They will lose their practice, they will lose their license. Isn't that a shame? It's money. It's, you know what?
In charge of the doctors.
Huh?
That's the authorities that are in
Food and Drug
charge.
Administration.
The drug administration.
Food and Drug Administration. They make their money from the drug organizations, drug companies. Absolutely.
I'd like to share this one.
Real
2
quick.
months ago, a cardiologist said to me, you really should be taking medication. We have excellent medications now that the byproducts are beneficial, the side effects.
Are beneficial?
Yes, believe it or not, a cardiologist said that to me. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. Take a drug for the benefit of the side effects?
Yeah, but they say that with aspirin too.
Yes,
Yes.
when I went to my regular doctor, he wasn't even ready for me. We passed in the hallway and he looked at me and said, you know, people like you And he had never done that. I never went back. I've been going to others and I don't know what he meant. So the doctor I went to now said, well, why didn't you ask him what he meant? I said, I don't know, he scared me to death. So I never went back.
All right, for those of you who would like to share this information with other people, I have 2 videos. This one is called Eating. It's the 3rd edition, just came out. And it talks about these things. And it interviews doctors. It interviews people. There's interviews with people on here who have cancer, have had cancer. One is a 70-year-old doctor named Dr. Ruth Heydrich. Sweet person. She's 72 now. She's running triathlons. She had cancer, I don't know, 20-something years ago. She's a lovely person. This one is called Healing Cancer from the Inside Out. Now, this one talks mostly about heart disease. This one talks mostly about cancer. If you know anybody who's got cancer, you'd like to buy this for them. Got special deals for everybody. But these are interviews with doctors. These are interviews with researchers. These are interviews with people who have had cancer and did not go the drug route. Her name is Brenda Cobb. And I introduced her on one of my shows called Rock and Radio. And I talked to her about that, and she's the one who said, and there's other doctors in here who corroborated it, that 2 weeks maximum to cure diabetes too. Cure it by changing the food program. I'm not talking about, what they call it when somebody who's got cancer, they,
Remission.
remission. Yeah, we're not talking remission here. We're talking cure, cancer, heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes. Got a new one coming out right now called Raw in 30 Days or something. I can't remember the name of it. They just changed the name of it. But it's about people who have had diabetes. They took 6 of them and they put them on a raw food diet. Now, by raw food diet, I mean 75% raw. Maybe some cooked. But, if you're game for it, go 100%. Okay, somebody else asked me, or same person asked me about detoxification. Usually, when you do raw food, this is what tells you how bad the food you've been eating is. When you go raw, you will probably go through what is called a detoxification. Now, have you ever seen the movies where they show somebody who's had a drug addiction, coke, heroin, whatever, and they go through a detox and you see them going through all this stuff? It's not quite that bad. Good. But you can go through some, like a lot of various things such as what they call cold symptoms, flu symptoms. I mean, where the stuff is coming out, and that's what you want. So I'm not trying to scare you out of doing it. I just want you to know that if you can go through a 3-day detoxification, you're going to come out the other end feeling so much different. Did you go through detox at all?
I put myself through a 1-month detox.
So you went through a conscious detox by
I
doing
did.
a fast or something?
And I'd already been doing fasting before that.
Okay.
So I was relatively clean.
Okay. So one of the ways I'm suggesting you get started, rather than just going 100% and going through a detox of that nature, because some of you still have to work, right? I mean, you still have to take care of family and work and stuff. And so my thing is get yourself a smoothie every day. Drink that. That's your start. 2 to 3 months, and then as you're feeling better and better, getting out walking, getting out moving, doing more and more, then what you do is keep adding more and more foods, raw foods, to your food program. I teach classes, by the way, but we're up in Altadena, so I know you all want to make a group and come and do a road trip up to Altadena when I have my classes. But you know what? This surprises people, and I didn't have time to make them, and I was talking to Patrice about maybe next time I come, I'll make some smoothies for you. And also bring samples. You can eat strawberry crepes. You can eat chocolate cookies. They're made with carrot. You won't know the difference. You can eat lasagna. Made with zucchini, no noodles. You can eat chili. You can eat all kinds of pies, all kinds of cookies. Everything you are eating now, you can eat in the way of raw. You just need to be more creative. Or you can just eat very simply and just eat a lot of salads and various other things. But that's why I teach in my classes, of how to really enjoy your food. Because that's one of the things people are afraid of. Well, what happens is, if I go to a barbecue, what do? Bring your food, share it with people. Assist them in becoming healthy.
Do you eliminate meats when you start going raw? What do you do about meats? You don't need that much, of course.
You don't need any.
But that's what I was wondering about.
Yeah, so let me suggest something to you. People will start asking, well, what do I do about this? What do I do about that? But do I have to give up coffee? Coffee is a drug. Caffeine is a drug, huh? People love it. But heroin addicts love heroin. Addicts love their drug. People who smoke, they love their nicotine.
I have a question for you. If you eliminate the meat, where are you getting your protein?
Oh, the old question, where do you get your protein?
Thank
Thank you. Thank you. You don't get protein from meat. You do not get protein from meat. Meat is protein, but you're not getting your protein from your meat. Everybody's sitting there going, huh? We've been told that. We've been lied to. Same thing with dairy. Where do you get your calcium if you don't drink milk? Let me share this with you. What are proteins made up of? Amino acids. Fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, and greens are made up of, contain tons of amino acids. So when you eat meat or any animal product, you've got to take that protein that made that critter, you take it inside you. Now you've got something that's inside you that doesn't belong inside you. It is sitting in there for approximately 72 hours. Now would you take a piece of flesh, put it on your counter, and leave it for 72 hours and eat it?
Well, what about seafood?
Same thing. Seafood is even worse. Sorry. I know, I'm destroying all your things. I know what she likes. She's going, nah, I ain't gonna have my seafood. No. So what happens is you've got this stuff sitting in your stomach. You ever heard of stomach cancer? You know what causes it?
We don't believe in that. In the
It
science.
rots, doesn't it?
Pardon?
That meat in there rots.
Thank you. It rots. And then what do? You put starches on top, potatoes, pasta, rice, white rice basically. You put that inside you and what happens? You built up this whole thing inside you. Take a jar and put this in there and put it at 98.6 degrees and put it in a jar and see how long it lasts. And what happens to it? Is it any wonder we have heartburn?
We are science of mind, so a lot of our minds.
A lot of it
can
is true.
prevent
Yes.
certain diseases. I mean, we are.
There's no question.
We do that.
No question.
Okay.
But
I mean, it's not all food.
it's not all food. Absolutely.
No. No,
Absolutely.
I was just saying that our belief has a lot to do with our mind.
Absolutely. I
Okay.
have no
So
doubt
far-
about it.
So far as sickness and health is concerned.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something. I agree.
Yeah.
Totally. But no matter how much I think that eating candy bars every single day is not going to affect me, I don't care where my mind is on that. It's going to affect me. I don't care. You can believe. I mean, there was a runner called Jim Fix. Marathon runner. Highly trained, highly skilled, one of the top. And his feeling was, as long as I get enough exercise, I can eat anything I want. He died at 42 of a heart attack.
No, I'm not contradicting what you're saying.
Now, I'm going to get to your part in a minute,
Okay.
because you are absolutely right.
Okay.
Okay? But there's a fine line in life. That's why we have free will, and that's why we have intelligence, and that's why we have understanding. You know, just because we can, say something like this lady said, and I will get to your part in a moment, there's a fine line. You know, it's like, did you ever hear this, let me see if I can say it right. This guy was out in the desert, and he brought his camel to this oasis, and he went to sleep. When he got up, the camel's gone. This other guy says, why didn't you tie the camel up? He said, well, I left it to Allah. And he says, yeah, Allah gives you, you know, I can't remember right, but what it was is you got to take care of your business. You still got to take care of your business.
Trust in God to tie up your
Thank
family.
you.
Trust in God to put the money in the parking meter.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now let me get to your part of it. Okay, when I had asthma, I almost died twice. I don't know how much time I have. I'm just going on until you tell me to shut up. Well,
30 minutes and then take questions, or?
I'm going. Well, according to this, I've only done 10, but that doesn't make sense. I can't possibly do 10. But anyway, when I had asthma, I almost died twice from it because I had eaten a couple places that had sulfites, and I didn't know at the time that sulfites were deadly. I didn't even know they had sulfites in food at that time. This was quite a while ago. And so I found my teacher, and when I was going to my teacher, he would do some very intense, deep body work. And when it got to the point where I couldn't stand it anymore, I'd have an asthma attack. And he would tell me, I want you to know, you can breathe anytime you want. My head's going, no, I can't, I got asthma. Pretty cool, huh? So he told me this week after week after week, and finally my head started going, really? And he goes, no, I got asthma. So eventually it got to the point, and it was only about 3 months of seeing him every single week. Finally, I got it. This got it. That I was creating the asthma, but I gave up wheat, and I gave up dairy. That took care of 75%. The other 10 or 25% was up here. I was killing myself with something that was preventing me from living life. So I'm going to take some questions in a minute. Let me just run a couple things by you. Just consider this. If you've got what you feel is a dis-ease, what you would call a dis-ease, what benefits are you getting by holding on to that? If you have a prosperity issue, what benefit are you gaining from not having enough money to be had and do everything you want? If you get what you want, what are you afraid of? How are you afraid of keeping it? See, when you start thinking about having a lot of money, what's your fear? Spending it. And bringing you right back to where you are, right? I mean, look how fast you came up with that spending.
Not that I have a lot.
But why don't you? That's it. I mean, you know, we're talking science of mind here.
Yeah.
Let's talk prosperity for a minute. And I'm talking prosperous health, prosperous wealth. I'm talking money, I'm talking health, I'm talking across the board. Let's have it all. Okay? But you got to look at what you're afraid of. Okay? Let's just do prosperity real quick. I'm going to say, I'm afraid, and I'm going to go around here. You just tell me, just finish the sentence. Okay? I'm saying, I'm afraid. You say,
I'm not.
you're not.
I'm not either. It's all good.
None of you are afraid. How many of you are wealthy? How many of you want to be wealthy? Y'all raised your hands when I said who wanted more money. Y'all raised your hands. How come you don't have it? What are you afraid of if you have it?
Well, what would you consider that wealth?
That's your own interpretation. Let me ask you something. If you had more money than you do now, if you had more money than that you don't ever have to worry about it, what would you do with it? Would you share it?
That was my main idea for wanting it.
Share.
You'd share it.
Because I
Then
can't
why
eat
don't you
anymore.
have it to share? Because you're afraid of something?
That's right.
What's stopping you? You don't have it. You have some. Guy out there in the street pushing that wagon we saw crossing the street, he had some. But does he have enough to share? Y'all have some to share. I know you do now. But wouldn't you like more to share? So what are you afraid of? Don't tell me you're not afraid. I could run off a whole bunch of things that might strike you just really quick, like, I'm afraid somebody, people want me for my money. I'm afraid I'll spend it. I'm afraid,
Responsibility.
huh?
The responsibility.
I'm afraid of the responsibility.
Responsibility, that might be afraid of.
Yeah. I'm afraid it's gonna take more time to keep up with it than I want to do. We have these fears, and then I'm afraid what my friends will think. We live our lives in fear, and we don't want to acknowledge it. Yes, you are afraid. We all are. We all are at some level. And as we grow, more fears come up. Isn't that the fun part, though? It's an adventure. It's life. Huh? It's an opportunity, but it's also a challenge. But look at it. Isn't it fantastic, though, that you get to do this, and you got a group of people who are of the same mind? Isn't that great? You're with a group of people who are working together and playing together to create something here. That's fantastic. Do you have any mastermind groups where you all get together and just throw things around for ideas and stuff about health or wealth? No. You should.
Outside, but not here in the church.
Not here in the church. Is that possible?
Yeah.
Consider it. Consider it. Just consider it. Put something together. And you know what I would like you to consider is using my workbook, my playbook. I created this for the same reason. It's about the same thing I'm talking to you here. Okay, I was at a retreat, and it just came to me that there are certain things I do every day that make a difference in my life. And the first thing is 10 or more daily appreciations. That's one of the first things I do when I get up in the morning. I do 10 or more daily appreciations. That's why I asked you when I came, what do you appreciate? There's so much more to appreciate than the few things you guys came up with. That you can get up under your own power, that you have this beauty surrounding you, that you have Patrice who brings me in here, of course, on campus. That's appreciated. That you have clothes to wear. That you're not in Iraq, you're not in India, but you can help these people if you create a way. Think about that. We're over at Schuler's church, and I'm like, how about we sell all this stuff and give it to some people? Or teach other people how to have it. That's what you want to do. You don't want to just give money away. You want to teach people, use your money, use your knowledge, use your understanding to teach people how to have what you have. Absolutely. And so the second thing I have is daily choices. How many times do we make choices every day? Well, how often do we make conscious choices is the question. Maybe once a day. I think we make excuses more than we make choices sometimes. So that's what I've got actually 2 pages on choices. And so what it is at this time instead of. So can anybody think of something they should do instead of something else? I'll give you an example. Instead of eating that cherry pie, not the raw cherry pie, the real cherry pie, I'll have a green smoothie instead, or something like that. Okay? Instead of playing computer games or reading email, I'll make those phone calls I'm supposed to make. Instead of doing this at this moment. So what I call this is conscious procrastination. Because people tell me procrastinating is not good. You need to get things done. Well, how about if I consciously procrastinate on something I should not be doing and do what I should do? So there's consciousness behind it. Okay? Next thing is fear, which I know none of you have. And I don't ask you to dwell on your fear. But fear sitting in here can undermine everything you want to do. You start getting these ideas, and you'll get either external fear, somebody saying, oh, you don't want to do that. Well, if you do that, blah, blah, blah. I've had so many people tell me that. You don't want to do that. That's the other one. That's your inside.
Is he out
That's the other thing, that's the inside fear. And who put that in your head? You did. You listen to somebody else. You listen to those outside voices telling you, you can't, you shouldn't. You know why? Because they are afraid. They're afraid you're not going to be there. When my husband and I got married, we got married in Denmark. Big party. Well, small big party. I met a lot of his friends. You know what his friends were afraid of? That he was going to leave Denmark and leave them.
Yeah.
Well, guess what?
Did.
He did. We're celebrating our 5th anniversary in August, and he has not been back to Denmark. And you know what? Those people are still living. They're fine. We can go back to Denmark anytime and visit.
Oh, they can come here and visit.
They can come here and visit. We got a beautiful home. They can come and visit. Absolutely. Nobody's having a hard time because he left Denmark.
I wasn't walking with a cane before the doctor did that to me.
Uh-huh.
And I have been almost crippled almost 2 years from doctor to doctor. And I said, it's not my fear because I know the man just doing this to me and stuff, you know, like that. I said, I know that can't hurt me. But for some reason,
Yes.
from that on, something started happening to me.
You need to call and make an appointment with me, and we
And something started happening, and all
Uh-huh.
these doctors are doing nothing. Just
That's
sending
right.
from doctor to doctor, Huntington, Downey, all over the place with x-rays and stuff.
Yeah.
And I know he couldn't do anything to me by doing that, because
No,
God
you-
is
you did
greater,
it
but
to yourself.
something inside of me got afraid.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
even with the examination they did, I said, well, how do I know they didn't stick something in me? They were doing all these tests and all these different things. They could have been making me ill. How do I know?
Okay, and then the other thing in this book is PM appreciations. You give yourself appreciation in the evening. Stop looking at the bad news at night. I tell people I don't watch television. They go, well, I only watch the news at night. I'm like, first thing they do is they get up in the morning and they turn on the radio and listen to the news, or they go to the computer and look at the CNN. Please stop doing that. Please stop. No newspapers, no radio, no TV. Okay, let's talk about TV. This insidious thing that tells you to take drugs. Blockbuster. Get Blockbuster. It's $21. I don't know how much cable TV is now. How much cable TV? Does anybody know? All right, I'm here and I don't have it. Who's got cable TV? Who's going to admit to it? How much is cable TV a month?
That's in my
It's a
grandchildren.
lot.
That's a lot.
That's in my grandchildren.
It's about $60 a month, or give or take, right? Or more. Yeah. Now, what would happen if you get Blockbuster, which is like $23 a month? You get 3 videos every time, and then you send them back. No commercials. You choose the videos. You can get quality videos. And then, when you return it to Blockbuster, you get another one in return. How cool is that? So you always have something to watch at night. None of these commercials. I was amazed because when we were traveling, I'd look at the TV at the motels or hotels. And I realized why I don't watch TV. 10 minutes of a movie, and then you got 5 minutes of commercials. And then you've got 4 minutes of a movie, and then 6 minutes of commercials. It's just like, oh my God, when are they going to show me the show? How can people do this all the time? Stop doing it to yourselves. Junk in. You wouldn't put junk in this church, right? Don't put it in your heads. Don't watch the news, and I don't want to hear the excuse that I need to know what's going on in the world. No, you don't. You need to know what's going on in this world. This is the thing that matters in this little world, this community you are creating here. That's it. That's what you need to know. She's taking care of now. Okay, so the reason Patrice brought me here too is because I have my smoothie book, in case you know, Surrender to the Blender. This is the book. Okay, this has over 70 recipes. I was talking about making a smoothie. You want to get variations in your diet. You don't want to have the same thing every day. So there's 70 recipes, including almond milk for those of you who like milk. You can replace it with nuts. Make milk out of it. Frozen treats for those of you who like puddings. Take what is it? 1 banana and a mango. Blend them up. You've got pudding. Take frozen strawberries, frozen bananas, put them in a food processor, you've got ice cream. Your kids, grandkids, whatever, will love it. Now I'm going to do one quick short thing here, one quick story. When I started making this, I started writing it. I started because I had never found a smoothie book that didn't have sugar in it or dairy or something, and I wanted to put something out that was just basically fruits. Fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, and greens. Yes, you can make a smoothie with greens. And so I started doing that, and then I got lazy, and I kind of put it off, and then as I said, my mother died 2 years ago. My mother was the one who started me on eating better. That food made a difference in our bodies. And my mother died, and I found out that she died of malnutrition and dehydration. This is America. She was in Connecticut. We're poor, we're not rich, but dehydration and malnutrition? Please. My mother used to make smoothies before they weren't even known as such. I used to go in the kitchen, she used to make this green stuff, and I was like, what is this? It was great. We used to drink it. It was great. And my mother dies of malnutrition. And my cousin says, your brother should have been giving her Ensure. As my brother should poison my mother? Do you know what Ensure is?
Yeah.
Sugar. There's at least 3 to 5 kinds of sugar in there and dead nutrients.
It is, it's sweet.
It's, yeah, they have to make it sweet in order for somebody to drink it. My mother would not drink it. My mother knew about food. My brother, I didn't know any of this. Okay, I found out when she was like 2 weeks before she died that this was going on. And it was by that time it was too late. She was already in a fetal position and they couldn't do anything for her. But if he had been making that in a blender and giving that to her. Now see, I talk to people who are quote unquote baby boomers more than anybody else because you know what? They're taking care of their elderly and they're taking care of their grandkids. You want to get your grandkids going on something better than what I grew up on. You know, or many kids. I can't say me. I was lucky. Because I was already vegetarian when I was a kid. My mom trying to get me to eat meat. But what I want to say is, there's no reason for people to be as ill as they are. There's no reason for people. Heart disease is not a natural cause of death. Cancer is not a natural cause of death. High blood pressure, all of that. It only takes a few weeks. It doesn't take that long. It doesn't take that much. Simple steps. That's all you have to do. So what I'm offering is, I'm going to hand these out real quick. I've got some specials. If you buy one product, it is the regular price. If you purchase 2 products, you get $5 off. 3 products, $10 off. And I also have a special which has a whole bunch of products. For when you get the paper, it says $197. I'm not going to charge you $197. I'm going to charge you $147. And that includes both my books, both of DVDs, 2 CDs where I've interviewed a couple people on health, and 30 minutes. Did you get 3 there? Come on, man. 30 minutes of consultation with me. I take credit cards, cash, and check. Does anybody have any questions? Are you busy reading? Okay.
Yeah, I do. In these books that you're selling, do you explain the health benefits of the various foods?
You are so lucky because you know what? You just got my second edition just came out a few weeks ago. And what I have at the end of this one is a whole section that lists properties of fruits, vegetables, greens, nuts, and seeds. So it tells all the nutrients. And then I've got another section that states common health conditions and potential natural relief using smoothies and smoothies from this book. So what the question was? The answer is yes. Yes.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Just,
Yeah.
I didn't get a picture.
Oh, that's not right.
Thank you.
I have a question about sugar, sodas and these artificial sweeteners.
Poison. Okay, the question is about artificial sweeteners, aspartame. Let me tell you about aspartame. Have you ever heard of, what is it? No, when people used to do moonshine, they would drink that stuff and get, out blind. They would get blind from the, what is it?
they go blind.
They go blind from the alcohol.
Alcohol.
Alcohol poisoning. That's what happens when you do aspartame. A lot of our soldiers were in the Gulf War, and they shipped them cartons and cases of the diet colas, and they sat in the sun. And what they made was wood alcohol. So when you put that kind of sweetener, now let me give you a suggestion instead. Get some stevia, get some agave, use honey. Those do not affect diabetics anywhere near like white sugar does.
So you said stevia?
Stevia comes in drops. Agave, which is very much like honey,
How do you spell it?
A-G-A-V-E, it comes direct from a beautiful plant.
I know Steve, you get the Trader Joe's.
Stevia, you can get at Trader Joe's.
Even the sweeteners.
Those are sweeteners,
Yeah.
okay? Because you want to get rid, you can't do that aspartame, please. Do not do that. I worked with one woman who was a hairstylist. I was working at a salon doing body work. And somebody came and told me that she needed to use my room. And I said, why? And she says, because she can't see. And she was addicted to diet soda. I told her, I said, you gotta stop doing that. She get off in 3 days, get back on it. She said, oh, it's not the diet soda. I'm fine, I can do without it 3 days. She could not go 3 days without it. She'd be on it again. I had another woman who was 42 years old, had a stroke. And I had been working with her husband for quite some time. He brought her in. And when I was through working, he told me, he says, diet soda is killing her. 42 years old, she had a stroke. And he said there's no other reason. I worked with her mother told me the same thing. She says, I'm into health food, and she says, I cannot get my daughter off the diet soda. As soon as I was through with that woman, I told her, I said, you need to have water. You need to drink water, because once you work on somebody, you want to flush out, everything that you've got going. And she goes, no, diet soda. She went right across the hall. This is a salon, okay, I have no control of it. She went across the hall and she bought some diet soda. It's addicting. Addicting. Anything else? Other questions?
So are you saying to drink, if you're gonna have, like the smoothies and you drink water instead of?
Okay, let me suggest something to you. Our bodies are made of 75% water, right? So this is something my husband came up, because most of us don't drink enough water. One way to do that, squeeze an orange, put it into your water, it tastes so good. Because there's not much taste in water, it's kind of like.
What about lemon?
Lemon is fantastic, it's good for the, those guys here, the liver and the gallbladder. Yeah, absolutely. But if you want for taste, cucumber, mint, put cucumber in water, put mint in water, oh yes.
How about ginger? I've heard of.
Ginger is good, yeah,
Ginger and
ginger's very
water.
good for the stomach, absolutely.
I think it's a good idea to get used to the taste of water itself. I have water as soon as I clean my teeth in the morning. I go to bed with a little pint jar of water in an ice cube bucket, and I drink the water first thing in the morning after I clean my teeth, after breakfast, after lunch, and when I'm watching TV, there's a bowl of water right there.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but I don't dislike it.
Yeah.
I want to ask you something. I boil all of my water. And I have asked the doctor if that made a difference in your health. If it's not good, am I boiling something out of the water?
You any minerals that are in the water, you're boiling them out.
Well, maybe that's what's wrong with me.
Okay,
Because no
what about
doctor's been
distilled
able
water?
to answer my question.
Drinking distilled water, are you?
Distilled water is the same thing. You know, there's a lot of controversy about the kinds of water, reverse osmosis, distilled. You know what? My thing is, if you're putting, if you're gonna do that, put some orange juice in it.
Orange juice. I could buy the just
What
water,
about
but I
the
can't
distilled
drink
water?
it.
What could be added to distilled?
Yeah, just put some orange juice, just squeeze an orange and just put it in the water.
Well, I drink orange juice all during the day too.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about
Hey, I
that.
feel great, I don't have any ailments, I'm not taking any medication
Don't worry about it.
because they
No,
don't.
I was just wondering what to add to the distilled water. What do you think?
You know, as long as you're getting enough fruits and vegetables, my understanding, I don't know how true it is, about distilled water is when it's distilled, it's steamed and all the junk comes out of it, but also all the good stuff. That's my feeling, that's my understanding.
Yeah, because I distill hydrogen water out of the tap and the stuff that comes out.
Yeah, because when you clean that distilled water thing, I don't know if you distill your own water, but boy, that's some nasty stuff. There's sediment down in the bottom.
Right.
That's also the stuff that's also minerals.
But then so what about the supplement? You said orange will do it?
I would put orange juice in it. I mean, orange juice has got so many nutrients, it's amazing. It's
I was
amazing.
worried, but I've been drinking boiled water.
Yeah, lemon water is great, yeah. Lemon, change up.
Then I put it
Change
back.
up, make a rainbow. Okay, anything else I can answer for you?
Does a person have to buy all of this that's listed on this?
Excuse me?
I said, the person has to buy all of these different items.
Does a person have to buy all of them?
Yeah, because I don't have a DVD. So I can't use but
If you don't have the, oh, you don't have a DVD player? Uh-oh. Well, you're gonna have to manifest that, ma'am. Put it out to these people, because I'm sure in this whole congregation, there's somebody who has a DVD player they're not using. Or go to Craigslist. Or go to FreeCycle. Everybody familiar with FreeCycle.com?
healing cancer from the inside, but I don't have a DVD.
All right, you heard it. She does not have a DVD. Somebody who knows somebody who's got a DVD, just put it out there. The universe will take care of that for you. Trust me on that. The universe will take care of that for you. What about calcium? Greens. Greens. Green leafy vegetables. Broccoli.
All the things I like.
Get the greens.
This came from the parties and
Yeah, but are you cooking the greens? Are you cooking calcium out of them? That's one way around. I'm not
frozen food.
frozen foods. Her food is dead. You know, okay, she was asking about calcium. Okay, people think they get calcium from milk. You don't. There's too much protein in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't get calcium from milk. But I told her greens, and she says she loves greens, but they're frozen. In order to freeze something, you have to heat it high.
You have to do it.
You have to heat it very high. And so you're killing all the nutrients.
So I'm not getting it.
You're not getting all the nutrients. That's why you don't freeze. Okay, I thank you.
I have Vitamix, so.
You got a Vitamix, yay, congratulations, I do too, it's my favorite, it's a great one. Thank you, I appreciate it, I've got products in here if you want some, let me know. Taxes included on all those prices, and I thank you so much.
Thank you. Did everybody sign in? Kristen, you didn't sign in?
Yeah, I signed.
Thank you for staying on.